Ready? I'm recording.
Hi.
Hi, Michelle. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good, thank you.
Good.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
So, how's things?
They're good.
Good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to remind you again, Michelle, that the confidentiality agreement that we had signed last week when you were here is still in effect, as every other meeting will be as well.
Okay.
So, I just wanted to touch base. First of all, how are you?
I'm pretty good, actually. I had a good week.
Good.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying the weather outside?
I love it. It's very nice.
It's beautiful.
I know, I
isn't it?
just want to sit outside and absorb the sun.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I went for a hike today and it was just gorgeous, absolutely.
Good.
So, last week we were discussing the death of your grandfather, and you were rather upset about the fact that he had passed, but you don't have a good rapport with your grandmother,
Yeah.
and you were having feelings about how you should approach saying that you love your grandmother in a variety of different ways.
Yeah.
And you were also showing a little bit of worry about saying that you love her, and that there might be some correlation to her dying because and we discussed that last week as well, where there's no real correlation between saying you love somebody and them dying, but it is definitely a real fear with you. So I mean, it was something that we addressed last week.
Yeah.
And then we also talked about, I asked you to do a little bit of homework and, talk with your father and see about different family supports that you have available to you. Can you tell me what happened over the last week? And did you do anything like that? Or?
I called my dad on, I think, the next day, so the Saturday that we met, and I just talked to him a bit about how I was feeling, and, I actually talked to him about how I was feeling, like saying I love you to my grandmother would kind of end in a negative way, and he just kind of, like you said, like there's no correlation, and he kind of just reassured me with that, and so it was really good just kind of to let him know how I was feeling. So yeah, it was pretty good. I also was thinking about calling my grandmother, but every time I got near the phone I would just completely freeze, so I'm not sure how to go about it now.
You'd freeze. How come? What was the biggest factor that would stop you from picking up the phone?
I think just because since we don't have like the greatest relationship as is, like I don't know what to say and how she's going to react. Since I was never that close, like I don't know if I say, how was your day? If she's going to be like, oh, it was awful, or if she's going to be like, oh, it was okay, or oh, it was great. Like I just don't know, how she's doing or how she's going to react, or, how she's even, I don't know, like I know she's going to like me calling, but I just don't know if she's going to be nervous about it too, or...
Is she over the fact that her husband has passed? Within reason? I mean, is it something that you can approach her with and talk to her about, do you think? Has your father talked to her about...
Yeah, well, he's actually living with my grandmother right now because he has a job in Sarnia. I think I might have mentioned that last week. So he's still staying with her, so they talk about it all the time, and I guess my grandmother's doing really good because like my grandparents were very religious, so she's like, oh, he's with God now, like she's kind of at peace, and she's like, oh, I'll go see him soon, so she's not too terribly upset over it, I guess, anymore.
Are you religious?
No, I was raised Catholic like early on, but then we just stopped going to church. Like I never really had like that vast belief in God, so I don't really follow the Bible. Or
do you think that may act as a barrier between approaching your grandmother and discussing the passing of your grandfather?
Yeah, actually, I never even thought of that. Because God, I remember going to church with her when I was little, and her always like say the phrases, and I would never know. So I guess I am kind of afraid that if she'll say something about like the Bible or something, I'll be like, what does that mean? And I don't want to offend her in a way, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can always approach her, and I mean, if she does bring up any type of religious phrases and passages, I mean, you can just kind of go along with it, and you know, if you have a little bit of a background,
a little bit, yeah.
You know, you should be able to at least kind of wing it.
Yeah. Well, she also knows that, like, my dad didn't take me to church, so she knows that I'm not really as religious as she is, so she'll definitely have some understanding with that. But yeah.
So what is your biggest fear about picking up the phone now? I mean, if we're over the fact, or if you've kind of come to terms that there's no causality between saying that I love you and her maybe passing, what's the biggest fear right now?
I think it's just, like, since it's so back and forth, like, if I, like, I don't know, I was kind of thinking about writing a letter. I don't know if it's stupid or not, and just kind of, you know, writing 1 or 2 or 3 and just kind of seeing, you know, how that would go, so I'll know what I have to ask and what to say. I don't know.
No, that's actually a great idea.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe towards the end of our session, we can maybe discuss you doing that for, you know, next week's homework.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, if you're okay with that, I mean, it's something that would allow you to express yourself without being having any fear of rejection.
Yeah.
I mean, you seem like you're well adjusted. I mean, a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you haven't spoken with somebody for a long time and a grandparent at that, sometimes there's that you know, age generation gap.
Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, it's something that sometimes has to be overcome. But I mean. So what type of support do you have in place? You know, you don't really have religion. How about your father?
Yeah, my father is a big support. I was never really close with my mom, so he's been there. And my boyfriend's been good, and also just a couple of friends at school. They've been really supportive. Yeah.
Is this stress with your grandmother, is it leaking into your day-to-day life? Is it affecting school or relationships?
I think a little bit, just because... I don't know, like, I just feel kind of, like, it's just in the back of my mind, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, I'll be in class and I'll be like, oh my god, like, what if she was sitting at home dying? And I know I shouldn't be thinking that, but, like, she's got COPD, so it's like she has a lot of trouble breathing. And when we went to the funeral, she was in the greeting line, obviously, and she was, like, wheezing for breath. And I was like, oh my god, like, I could never imagine, like, living, you know, on oxygen the rest of my life. So I think thinking about that, and then just the stress of, like, not, you know, reaching out to her, and I know I'm nervous about it, but I really want to do it, so it's just kind of stressful.
No, understandable, absolutely.
Just with, like, essays, and, you know.
How do you de-stress normally? Do you exercise, or...?
You know, I write. That's why I was thinking about the letters, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, I just keep a journal and just stuff like that. So.
No, I mean, a lot of people do that, you know, as a type of therapy, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, you bring up a good point, and, you know, I think that if you were to write maybe 2 or 3 different passages or ways that you can approach the situation, you can kind of role play it, you know, through the writing.
Yeah.
And I mean, from there, next week when I come in and or when we meet, you know, if you allow me to at least take a look at
actually,
you know,
I'd
what
like
you've
that,
written down. Plus, you know, just the cathartic act of writing. I mean, it could kind of give you different avenues on how to, you know, what to say. And you know, it won't be 100%. You know, obviously, because you can never, you know, understand or project what someone else is going to say in response. But, you know, I think that maybe with talking with your father, in conjunction with writing down, you know, what you'd like to speak about, I think that would be great.
Okay.
And, you know, and again, if you allow me to, you know, check it out next week, that'd be great. But it was nice to see you again, Michelle.
It was, for sure. Thank you so much.
No, well, thank you, and I will see you next week.
Okay, thanks.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye.